the first 6, 7, 8 months of 2013, that's the window. We need to solve it.
Let's say they don't solve it. What are you doing at the end of 2013?
If they don't solve it, I have to look at the direction of the non-solution, because they'll do something. Okay. But it's going to become far more defensive. Far more, I'll double I do a monthly purchase of gold. I prefer the price of gold to go down, because that means I get more coins. And I was disappointed the other day to look up, because I don't look at the price of gold that much. And I found the price of gold had gone up. That's not good. I want gold to go down. But I buy that gold, not because I think I'm going to need it. In fact, I think I won't. But at the end of the day, I don't trust the bastards. And so gold is my insurance. I've got health insurance, I've got life insurance, I've got all this insurance. Gold is another form of insurance. I'm not buying it to invest in.
Yeah.
I would buy more assets. My policy my investments will become far more conservative.
When you see Russia and China and other Eastern Central banks and governments buying gold, what does that tell you?
They're not buying gold in size. They're buying a little bit of gold, and it makes the gold bugs happy because they point to it. But they're not buying size. The bridal population of India buys far more than those central banks are buying. Now, it tells me that they do recognize that it's another monetary form of monetary currency, and that it's a way for them to distribute their currency risk. I mean, if you're a central bank sitting in another part of the world, you have to have reserves. So it makes sense to have some of those reserves in a hard asset commodity like gold. If I was a central banker, I'd be buying some other assets. I'd be buying income assets. Some in dollars, some in different currencies, depending on who my trade partners were, depending on what I wanted my assets to look like. If I'm China, if I'm Russia, I mean, Russia's producing gold. They let's take the gold we're producing and stick it over in the corner and give the people the rubles. Why ship it out?
Yeah.
That's a perfectly rational policy. My personal opinion, we should be adding to our gold in the U.S. as well. But that's just me.
Assuming Armageddon doesn't happen, and we solve this, and they get serious. What are some of the things that you're looking at as far as investments? And I know you do a lot of stocks, but why don't you get your thoughts on real estate?
I'm not so much a stock guy. I'm a technology guy. I like dividend plays. I like income plays right now. Look globally.
What are your thoughts on U.S. real estate, single family houses?
If you can find the right price and you've got adequate capital, so that you don't have to over leverage, you can get a nice yield. But it's all about the yield play. Just going in and saying, I want to buy 10 houses. No, you want to buy 10 specific pieces of property that have the real potential for producing streams of income, and that there's a market for it, and it's in an area where there's going to be people who will want to rent. I rent my home. I sold my home a long time ago, wanted out of it. I didn't see it as an investment. That's because I'm from Texas, and real estate hasn't been a terribly good investment. We never got the bubble.
Yeah.
Okay.
Which is nice. You never got the bust.
We've had a little bit of a bust. It's dropped some, just because of the normal malaise, and in the upper end homes, it hasn't come back yet. It's starting to come back in the lower priced homes, but I can lease a lot cheaper on a cash flow basis than I can if I buy.
In closing, since you brought up Texas.
Yeah, by the way, if I was in Florida right now, I might be buying with both fists.
Okay.
Okay, because there you got markets that dropped out of bed, and you got a state where people are net migrating into, and they want properties. They're willing to lease for a while. You can get paid money while you're holding for that property to come back. That's a different story than buying in Texas. And so all real estate's local. Income producing properties. You can find places where you can buy commercial real estate with good long-term leases, with good companies that are going to be there even if the world comes to an end. I mean, I don't believe in Armageddon. The Republic's going to survive. We survived Jimmy Carter. We got through the Depression. I mean, we'll exist. Nobody in 2022 or 2027 is going to want to come back to the good old days of 2012.
Yeah.
The world's going to be so much better in terms of technology and the stuff we get to do and the fun we have. Just as investors and as people, we got to figure out how to be able to get a return on our investments, and we've got to figure out how to be able to do something that other people will pay us for.
I wanted to ask you about Texas. It is a unique economy. Half the jobs have been coming from accretion has been coming from Texas. What makes Texas such a thriving economy as opposed to what's going on in the rest of the United States?
Part of it is, I think, a Texas attitude. I mean, it's just get out of our way, we're going to do it. There is a bit of a swagger there. There is that part of the mystique. Part of it is nobody gets in your way. If you want to start a business, go for it. And there's no stigma of failing. I mean, the guy that started Texas Instruments went bankrupt 5 times before he launched Texas Instruments, and that was 50 years ago. I mean, it's just, it's a very entrepreneurial environment, very personal oriented. You're allowed to, from whatever you want to do, if you can figure out how to do it, go for it. And there's not a lot of rules, there's not a lot of impediments in front of you. And people, honest to God, really don't care whether you're black, white, green, or blue. Have you got something that makes sense that people will pay you for? So there's not a lot of taxes. You're not burdened with a lot of regulatory stuff. We have reasonable regulations.
Your legislators meet every other year, right?
That is benefit, because you're only at risk about 6 months every 2 years.
Yeah, I was gonna say I don't want them working and thinking of laws.
I mean, our legislators get paid $6,000 a year.
That's
it
great.
might have gone up, something like that. I mean, you don't go to the legislature for the income. Their retirement package isn't bad. If you can hang on for 8 years, you actually get a decent retirement package. But you've actually got to go back and make a living somewhere.
Yeah.
And so we tend to have a more conservative legislature because these guys go back and have to live in the world that is the laws they create.
I love that idea.
Yeah.
Just a quick comment on, if you had to make a bet or had a gun to your head, who's the president in 6 months from now?
Romney.
All right.
And that's I mean, again, let's look. I wish you'd asked me that on Sunday a week from now, because we'll be able to see the polls. Right now, Obama's approval rating is running 47-48. Let's see what kind of bounce he gets over the weekend from his convention. If 3 days going into the election, look at his approval rating. If his approval rating is 52%, he wins hand down. If his approval rating is 47-48%, where it's at right now, he loses. I mean, that's it. That's the number you want to look at. Mm-hmm. Right now, his approval rating is below 50%. So all the likely voter polls and this, just look at his approval rating. And so that's why I'm saying Romney. Now, if you if that changes after the debates, if Romney walks in there and starts drooling while he's talking, well, then Obama will win.
You know, a gentleman said something interesting last night that he thought Israel would strike Iran because they need Obama's support. They strike it before the election in order to force Obama to support them. What were your thoughts when you heard that? Did you agree with that statement?
I think that's a big gamble on the part of Israel. They don't seem to be that big a risk taker. I would personally, and I'm a supporter of Israel, I always have been, I would be really angry if they were to do something in October to try to force our hand. I would almost be to the point where, and I think a lot of conservatives would, really, that's the way you treat your friends? Is you try to poke their anthill while they're out trying to fix the fire? I think they risk the anger of the American people with a preemptive strike. Now, I mean, if Iran does something stupid, that's one thing. But Iran's not going to do anything stupid. They don't want to go poking the anthill either.
Yeah.
I don't think that's likely.
Okay.
I mean, it makes nice conversation, nice conspiracy talk, but at the end of the day, most players are rational, and I just don't see the rationality of Israel trying to force the United States into doing something in the middle of us focused on an election. That's not the way that you win friends and influence people.
Well, likely, I would assume if they did that, you would have an Obama landslide, because
No,
people tend to rally around the president, right?
No, I don't think you could assume that. I think this country would be annoyed with Israel, but they're still focused on our problems. This is a domestic election as opposed to some elections being foreign policy elections. This is a domestic election. And I don't know that changes. And I don't know that Israel doing something really changes how people, I mean, it might change some people on the margin one way or another, but I still think this boils down to approval ratings. Now, if it changes Obama's approval rating, yeah.
John, if someone would like to reach out to you or learn more about the books that you've written, New York Times bestsellers, where's the best place for them to go?
Go to johnmauldin.com. Just
Awesome.
Google my name, click on it, sign up for my free letter, write it every week, and they can be one of my 1 million closest friends.
Awesome. Thanks so much.
Thank you, sir.
Appreciate it.